Is it possible that you can sell without selling? Well, selling something to someone is one of the hardest job of life, and rather, you know what, the better thing to say rather than selling is to make people buy from you. You cannot force anybody to, you cannot force anybody to sell. Like you cannot force to sell anything to anybody. People only buy what they want to buy, and you can create an environment for people to buy from you. What is that principle? What is that skill or strategy which has helped people to make people buy from them? Or the common word which people understand is selling. And how do you sell somebody without selling them? Let me share about my journey, and how I became a researcher on storytelling and communication skills from stage. My journey begins in a one-room house in Kolkata, Calcutta, in the year 1977, December 23rd. I was born in this beautiful city, which is also called the City of Joy. Growing up in this beautiful city where Mother Teresa did a lot of great work, we had a lot of financial challenges. My parents, they are illiterate; they can't read and write, and my father used to drive a taxi, an ambassador car, to fetch a living for the family. Now, while we were in this one room house with no furniture, I still can go back into my one room house in Kolkata. And if I can, as I see my room in Kolkata, I realized we did not have any furniture in our house. We had a rolling mattress. In our language, we call it gadda. My mom will roll out the gadda and roll back it in, in the morning. And for a kitchen, we had a shed next to our one room house. And in rainy season, which is around 3 to 4 months, 4 months in Kolkata, it would be a huge struggle for my parents, especially for my mom to cook. And for toilet, we had a toilet which was common between five families who were renting one room houses in that space. So we had a lot of financial challenges. And my parents figured out at a very early stage, thanks to our neighbors who were great human beings and had some more wisdom, they told my parents that their kids needs to go to English medium school rather than going into a local language, which could be Hindi, Bengali, or some other Indian language. Now, my parents did not have enough money, to send us to a private English medium school. I mean, me and my sister, they were thinking about, but they did not have enough funds. I mean, God bless my good karmas and the courage, my parents got from our neighbors who gave some personal loan to my mom. And somehow I was chosen, over my sister to go and study in a private English medium school. And that's how I can communicate with the language which I'm using right now to share my story with you. So coming back, one room house, financial challenges, illiterate parents, and a lot of difficulties. We did not even have money, to buy new clothes. The only time I would get one new pair of clothes is during Durga Puja. If you have any understanding about Kolkata, Durga Puja is a big, big festival for Bengalis and for the city of Kolkata. That was the only time I would get a new pair of clothes. So Durga Puja has a lot of, special memories for me even till this day. Now, coming back, financial challenges were not my personal challenges. They were my parents' challenges. For me, I was sorted as a kid. I had clothes been given from my neighbors, which was free. I had, books been given from our seniors, which was almost free. And I had a one-room house my father was renting, so I had a, shelter above my head, and I had food on the floor, which I was getting from my parents. These financial challenges did affect my life, but not directly. Growing up in a one-room house in Kolkata, I had different challenges. I am a mixed child, a part of amazing country called Incredible India. My father, he is Northern Indian, very fair in complexion, and he's a Jat Sikh Punjabi. It's like a different community of people. My mom, she is Bengali from the east of India. She is quite dark in complexion. And I'm a fusion of North and East India. And I grew up with the understanding of people around me that there is something wrong with me as a human being, that I'm not pure enough as a human being. And all these voices which was given to me over a period of 12, 13, 14 years, it became my voice, that I'm a dull, dumb boy, good for nothing. I cannot make a difference to my life, to my parents' life. And maybe nobody loves you, Amandeep. It became so strong and powerful inside me that by the age of 16, I was uh, contemplating to end my life. I was suicidal, as they say. All these bullying and abuse going around me, it really made me sick. It made me believe, what, that I have no purpose, nothing to offer to the world, and it'll be better if I go away from this planet Earth. I watched some Bollywood movies at my neighbor's house in Kolkata, and I figured out, in my own little teenage mind, that the easiest way to commit suicide is to cut my nerve in the middle of the night when everybody's sleeping. And when they wake up in the morning, I will be gone, and all my pain and miseries will also go away with that act. I did figure out a razor blade. I did keep it next to my window. And for quite a few nights, I will hold the blade next to my wrist here. My hands will be shaking, and I will be in tears, asking God that why have you made me this way? Why I can't be, pure enough like other peer group I have. I had all these, myths and notions in my brain as a teenager. I'm sure you can relate. Teenage life, you don't have understanding about life at such level. I mean, I couldn't gather the strength. Thank God I did not gather the strength. I would hold it for a few nights and leave it and feel more, disempowered because I thought, what do people talk about me that I'm not brave enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not amazing enough like others? Probably they're right about me. And within a few days, a magic moment happened in my life. Maybe that's the magic moment happening for you right now as you listen. I had a letter dropped from a company called Amway. Yes, there's a network marketing company which was launching in India in 1998. I have no clue how they got my name and address, but that letter saved my life. I opened the letter and it felt like it was speaking to me personally at a different level. It invited me for a business meeting, which I went in, and I saw this guy on stage. His name is Dr. Brach. He became the first diamond for Amway business in India. And while he was presenting on stage, he mesmerized and captivated me. He gave me the desire deep inside my heart that I would like to do something similar to what he is doing. It was a big dream for me. And my heart, pumped at a different rate just by thinking about being on stage. Anyways, at the end, he said, even if you don't join the business, we recommend that you pick up one book from our the space here because we have some collection at the back of the room. And if you do, your life will definitely change. He made a promise, big, bold promise from the stage. I walked to the back of the room and I saw, a collection of books. And my world opened up for the first time to something called personal development. I picked up two books from there. One was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And the second book I picked up because it spoke to me so directly. It said, Amandeep, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, written by Dale Carnegie. When I read the book, I had to keep the dictionary around me, and I only understood maybe 60 to 70% of what the book said. But I realized one important thing about life that if I can become a better communicator, if I can, overcome my own fear, my own limitations, my disbelief in myself, I can really, make an impact in my life and the life of others. It doesn't matter what my height is. It doesn't matter what my skin color is. It doesn't matter what level of English I speak right now. It can all change if I am eager to learn and keep growing. And on that journey in the year 2000, I went to New Delhi, the capital of India, for my graduation. And I did some trainings. I was reading books, I was growing while I was looking for a job and studying. I did a training, with a trainer in Delhi, and I became friends with somebody. They call it like-minded friends. And this gentleman, Rajiv, recommended me a book by Tony Robbins called Awaken the Giant Within. And Tony became my hero after reading that book. In the year 2006, I came to UK under a scholarship. Again, God bless, my good karmas and some great support people gave me. I went to Newcastle for my, studies. And as I was looking for a part-time job, I landed up on a free book campaign of Tony Robbins. I clicked on it. I got a call from their office after getting the book. And after a few weeks, through some installment payment, I went to attend Tony's signature program, Unleash the Power Within. And attending this program in June 2007, I had a major, major breakthrough. The breakthrough was so powerful that I decided to set on a journey of being a teacher, a trainer, a communicator, a speaker, an orator. And after researching for a few years, after doing a couple of events and trainings in 2010, I did my first program. It was a failure financially, but I had an achievement that I could break my limitations and be on stage. Then I went on a journey to research and learn what makes people buy from you. What is the art of selling without selling? And I discovered that if you can become a great storyteller, then you can become a great salesperson as well. And that's what I do now, help people to find their voice so that they can become more effective, more marketable, and more of a person who can bring in business. And this is, I believe that, if you can speak in public as a great storyteller, you can really influence people. And if you can really influence people by your stories, you can change their lives. And the reason, storytelling works so effectively, so powerfully, because it is the oldest language known to mankind. It is 150,000 years old language. When there was no language to read or write, the language which was known for human existence, which helped people to pass wisdoms to the next generation, was through storytelling. In the olden days when we lived in jungles, that we call it the cave men or cave person mentality, we still carry elements of that in our present life in today's world. And that's why storytelling works. A team leader would sit in the dawn, in the evening, and passed wisdom to the next generation. And the same the next generation would do for the next generation. PPT and keynote is very powerful, but it is only 35 to 40 years maximum old language. We must work on our PPT, we must work on our keynote slides, but at the same time, we must work on our storytelling art. And it's a learnable art, by the way, because storytelling is a skill. It doesn't require any talent. You know what? Interestingly, every human being is a storyteller. But for most people, their storytelling is boring, dragging, nagging, and not to the level where it needs to be, where people are moved and influenced by the way one shares it. So coming back, you can learn storytelling, and this is what we teach during our workshops and training. That if you want to stand out, even in an interview as a one-to-one scenario, you've got to become a great storyteller. When you do great storytelling, you get massive leverage as an orator, as a speaker, as a communicator to stand out. Like, I give an example where most people, when they're asked, can you share, one incident of your life when you showed leadership qualities? Let's say you're giving an interview for a job. Most people, would give the facts and figures that, I go out of my way to help others. I'm a people person. I love to, work hard, which is not bad. But the better way of doing this, which some of my students do, they take you into a scene. They don't go like, I am people person, I go out of my way to help others, which is, as I said, not bad. But they start something on the lines by saying, it was 5th of January. I still remember it very clearly. It was a Sunday. It was a foggy day, cold winter day in New Delhi, India. And I woke up with 47 missed calls on my mobile phone. I couldn't help but call back. It was a call from my team leader. And my team leader told me, what? He's in trouble because his mother is in hospital and he needs me to step up and go into the office and act as a team leader for today. I'm not going to go into the entire story, but you get the gist of it, right? When you take me into the scene, when you actually design that entire picture for me, I connect with you very differently. So storytelling is a very powerful mechanism. And there's a Chinese saying that if you can tell great stories, you can rule the world. So my friend, I would invite you to, join me or somebody, who can help you to become a great storyteller, because once you can tell great stories, you can rule that interview, you can rule that stage, you can rule that scenario of bringing business to your world or to your life. Now, if you are specifically in the line of speaking, like the way I am as a speaker, trainer, coach, I'm sure you also realize this, and maybe you have seen a trend, maybe you already have a story, We call this technique as to how do you stand out as an orator, as a speaker, when you are at any speaking scenario, whether it's a webinar, seminar, training, workshop, is by doing your story. We call this technique YUPS, YUPS, Yankee Uniform Papa Sugar, YUPS. And YUP stands for us, for me and my students and my mentees, your unique positioning story. Even if you're twin brother, twin sisters, even if you grew up in the same family, your journey is very different. Your experiences of life, the city you were born, all the things you picked up as a child, as a teenager, as an adult person, has a very different flair and texture and music to it. And you need to play that music for the world to see you in that limelight, that you have enough credit, that you have enough rights to go and teach, share your message with the world. So I repeat, the technique, we call it YUPS. And they say for any story to become a great story, there has to be architecture behind it. If a story doesn't have an architecture, it will fall flat and it will not make an impact. It took me 8 to 9 years of research where I put a beautiful architecture together for any human being story to look great on stage. And if you would like to get access to this architecture, I would highly recommend, send me a message or to the organizer of global speakers, or find me, on social media and drop a comment or a message. And we would like to invite you to come and join us, at this masterclass. And during this masterclass, you will realize that it is very important that when you do your story from stage, that you must address to two different orientations of brain people have. Yes, the majority of the people in your room might be left brain oriented, like they're logical people, they're rational people. Their most decision to listen to you comes from that rational thinking. But at the same time, maybe 20 to 25 or 30% of the people in the group might not be completely rational oriented. They are, right brain people, which is called the emotional brain, which is called the creative brain, which is called the colorful brain. It's not that they don't have any logic in their brain. They do, but their dominant nature of listening to somebody or making a decision to take somebody as a credible source comes from your emotional roller coaster journey. Like what problem and challenges you have been through. And if you can share your struggle and pain with the audience in such a very special way that they see you as that credible source. And yes, it means that you got to be very authentic, and you got to touch upon the vulnerability of your life, which means the pain and struggles you have gone through. If you share it with the audience, with your listeners, you come across as a very credible source. So you must learn this art of addressing the left brain people as well as the right brain people. And if you do that, my friend, you will always stand out. And remember, stories, they sell because people buy through emotions and then they justify it logically. Not affording is not a concept. Every human being on planet Earth has afforded something at a worldly level they couldn't have, but they figured out a way, or like a personal loan, credit card loan, on some other way that they bought that stuff which they really needed it. So if the people want to get something, they will really buy it, provided you're able to really connect with them through your stories. Now, before I go, I'm just going to touch upon a couple of few points here, which is really important for your storytelling, especially if you're doing a story as a speaker. It needs to be in such a way that I can care for you in that story. So take me through that pain, that struggle, that vulnerability, that relatability as a human being, that as a other human being, I can care for you. Now, remember, they've done a research that there is no human being who will not care for you. The only condition is that they got to know your story, your pain and struggles. So your stories, my friend, are gifts for others, and you have no rights to keep that gift away from them. So I would say design your story, use a simple, beautiful architecture, bring that story out for the world, and you will stand out in any speaking scenario. And you know what? Sales will become a byproduct of you serving people. If you want a lot number of sales, then do more storytelling. And remember, the more effective your storytelling is, the more effective the buying will be from your clients. I would love to share more because it's your story is not your story when you do it from stage. It becomes their story. As I have only limited 18 minutes for this session. So at this point of time, I would say lots of love, stay blessed, keep learning, keep growing. That's how your journey will become interesting. And remember, become a great storyteller, because the better you are as a storyteller, the better your sales will be. Thank you.